federal government gives more details on released Dapchi girls. Stakeholders present a policy brief on environmental impact assessment in Nigeria. Science and Technology Ministry launches Technology Orientation Center. Israel Bemoans border fence with Egypt. Welcome to the AM News at this time on Television Nigerian. I am Cynthia Agbo. The Nigerian government has cleared the air on the recent release of girls abducted from the government girls' secondary school in Dapchi, Yobe State. The government says that it did not pay ransom to Boko Haram insurgents for the release. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, who addressed State House correspondents in Abuja, admitted that the government negotiated with the armed religious group. Lai Mohammed said that the girls were released unconditionally with no money changing hands. According to him, Boko Haram only asked to be allowed to return the girls to where they were originally abducted. He further explained that 91 of the abducted girls and a boy were released. The Information and Culture Minister also disclosed that the girls were dropped off at various locations, adding that the freed girls have since returned to their families. The need to review government's clean-up of oil spills in the Niger Delta has again returned to public discourse. In this report, Diana Ojua narrates the outcome of a recent stakeholders meeting held on the region's environmental matters. Her reports.
The resulting ecological and environmental damages from oil exploitation has impacted massively on the health and income of the people of Niger Delta. The case of the Niger Delta region is more precarious, given that for over 50 years of oil exploitation, the Ogoni people of the region have endured government's procrastination in the need to clean up the region's bioenvironment. This informs the public presentation of a policy brief on improving Nigerians' environmental and social impacts. Assessment by Environmental Resource Center seeks to highlight procedures and practice.
One of the areas of consideration was the issue about the cultural areas consideration, the health, community engagement.
This policy brief is to bring the public's attention to the need for us to have a review.
The brief also aims to identify, predict, evaluate, and mitigate the environmental, social, and other biophysical consequences of proposed developmental projects. This policy brief, if passed by the National Assembly, will give community the opportunities to exercise their rights and privileges as it touches on the environment. From Abuja, Diana Ojua, TVN News.
Science and technology innovations in Nigeria got a boost recently in Abuja with the launch of a Technology Orientation Center, an infrastructure that will provide an enabling environment for budding innovators and entrepreneurs in the country. TVN Charles Ibe has the report.
For science and engineering infrastructure.
This national resource, being inaugurated by the Minister of Science and Technology, Ogbonnaya Onu, will serve as a hub for gathering, display and assessment of the brightest of minds, innovation and other links to new and emerging technologies. The hub will help decide the relevance of emerging technologies to the economy. The project, a brainchild of Naseni, is the ground for an intercourse of ideas, creativity and products, plus services that could drive sustainable national socio-economic development.
Further, it will complement the cardinal objective of the Presidential Executive Order Number 5, which seeks to promote self-reliance in the processes pursuant to our rebirth as a modern nation of enhanced industrial capacity, especially in the areas of new and emerging technologies.
Key players at the launch of this visionary effort believes that the approach is in line with the implementation of the science, technology and innovation component of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan of the federal government.
After the break, Vice President Osibajo re-echoes government's position against corruption. Corruption has again been identified as a major setback in national development. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo emphasized this at the 4th Ogun State Investors Forum. TVN Dinah Ojua reports.
Time after time, it has been reiterated that no country in the world can survive widespread corruption. This explains why various governments across the globe invest huge human and material resources in the fight against this social malady. For the Nigerian government, nothing will undermine the ongoing campaign for transparency in public affairs. The federal government's position, which was made clear at the 4th Ogun State Investors Forum by the duel of the Vice President and the Finance Minister, Kemi Adeosun, will help Nigeria hit the target 7% growth in the next 3 years.
There is no country in the world that can survive on grand corruption on the scale that we were talking about. And that is why it was important for the federal government of Nigeria under President Muhammadu Buhari to reverse that grand corruption. So we spent in 2017 1.3 trillion on capital, the highest spend in the history of the country.
She says that government has succeeded in building microeconomic resilience for the country.
And our focus is on a stronger trajectory. All of our main sectors are growing. Agriculture actually represents 26.2% of our GDP.
The governor of Ogun State says that the state is committed to creating a conducive business environment, with power being the most critical.
Entrepreneurs from within Africa and around the world are choosing Ogun State as their preferred investment destination. Yet more investment is needed to realize the full potential of the state in order to plan for the next phase of our development.
The 4th Ogun State Investors Forum served as an adhesive that pulled critical stakeholders together. The forum was aimed at looking at the viability of investment capable of boosting economic growth.
Moving on to sports, Nigerian athletes are in high spirits as they prepare for the forthcoming Commonwealth Games in Australia. TVN Chelsea Bay has more on the story.
Nigerian athletes to the Commonwealth Games in Australia have assured Nigerians of good finishings after the just ended 3rd Golden League in Abuja, organized by the Athletics Federation of Nigeria. The competition in Nigeria was to further prepare and evaluate athletes for the event at Australia in April. Sheye Ogunlewe dominated the 100 meters men in 10.23 seconds. Blessing Ogundiro won the women category in 11.84 seconds.
Last trial, I did 11.3. For this trials, I did 11.66. Before I get to the Commonwealth game, I'm going to improve on my time.
Team Nigeria will be in Australia on March 24th.
Moving on to the foreign scene, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said the border fence constructed along Israel's border with Egypt is holding back a potential flood of illegal migrants from Africa, who he stated were worse than terrorists in the Sinai Peninsula. Speaking at an event celebrating the Negev region held in Dimona this week, Netanyahu said that Israel has recently completed a fence along more than 200 kilometers of the border with Sinai. The comments came as Israel has embarked on a highly controversial campaign to deport thousands of African migrants in the country. To end the news, a recap of the major stories. Federal government gives more details on released Dapchi girls. Stakeholders present a policy brief on environmental impact assessment in Nigeria. Science and Technology Ministry launches Technology Orientation Center. Israel Bemoans border fence with Egypt. That's the AM News on television Nigerian. But before we go, I leave you with these thoughts. Loyalty is a brand known only to the wise. Thanks for staying tuned. I am Cynthia Agbo. Do have yourself a wonderful day.